So I just want to highlight briefly the mission of Guilford County Schools. So Guilford County students will graduate as responsible citizens, prepared to succeed in higher education or the career of their choice. The vision, of course, is achieving educational excellence. So this whole meeting, which I already highlighted, we really want to tell you about the process. This is a great opportunity for students to get involved in their own education and select their courses. This is a great time to review and discuss their courses with your son and daughter. So this will be a time with the 4-year plan. You can see, what do you want to do? Because essentially, they need to be preparing for what they want to do when they graduate high school. What career do you want? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go into the military? If you go to college, 2-year or 4-year. So there are lots of options. We encourage students to take advantage of the rigorous coursework that we have in Guilford County. So this is a great time for them to challenge themselves so they are prepared when they graduate. So just to go over a bit about the process, and in order to go over the process, parents don't know a lot of our lingo. So you know, in education, we have a lot of acronyms, correct? So I'm just going to highlight a few of the terms so you at least know what we're talking about when we speak and when you read it in our registration book. So the course selections are just that. What courses will your student choose for the next or upcoming year? The high school 4-year plan, I've already mentioned that. You have a copy, a blank copy, which can be like a sample. So it really is a mapping of your students' 4 years in high school. So it's a living document. It will probably change every year. And if it doesn't change every year, that's fine, but they may choose to do something else. They might decide, I don't want to take regular English, I want to take honors English now. So you can edit this document. Prerequisites are courses that are required to take the next level. So before you can take Spanish 2, typically you have to take Spanish 1. Not always. But for your math courses, any courses that are sequential, typically you have to have the prerequisite. And then there are other advanced courses where you'd have to have taken a course before you can enroll. Future Ready Core, that is really just the pathway that the whole state of North Carolina is for the expectations for students to graduate. So it's by the North Carolina State Board of Education, and their goal is that every public school student graduates from high school globally competitive and ready for post-secondary education and obtains 21st century skills. So we used to have 2 pathways in Guilford County many years ago. We had like a college prep pathway and what I think it was college university pathway. Now we have 1 pathway, which is Future Ready Core. So quickly, career clusters and your high school transcript. So career clusters really are under the Career Technical Education Department. They are a cluster of courses that students can take. If they take at least 4 or more, they can become what we call completers, which means say they want to be a doctor or they want to be in the health field. They can take a series of health courses in sequence and they can complete that pathway. So you may take Health Science 1, Health Science 2, Health Science 3, and then you may take an additional course. We have about 14 pathways, 13 to 14 pathways that students can choose from agriculture to business to health to transportation. There are just a variety. And so in the registration book, it will show you the different pathways and the courses that students can take. The high school transcript, if you don't remember anything else from this meeting, not our names, not while we're here, anything, remember the high school transcript. So that is going to be your go-to. And we really encourage students to ask to view their transcripts. The transcript is just an essential document, and it really includes everything data-wise typically for that student on their transcript. This is what colleges will request, the student's transcript, as a part of the admission process. So it includes their grades, their GPA, their credits, their test scores, whether their courses are weighted or unweighted, and a plethora of other information. So the transcript is kind of your go-to. You shouldn't wait until you're in 12th grade for that to be the first time you've ever looked at it. Students should see it every year as they kind of matriculate through the from 9th to 12th grade. So it's a very important document. Honors and AP courses, international baccalaureate, we call it IB, and then your college courses. These are just advanced courses that you can take. Honors is just that, honors. Advanced placement courses, they are a bit higher than honors, and you have to take a national exam as well, so that's part of that. The IB program, that is international, if you remember the word international, so it is literally recognized internationally. So I think Ms. Marshall used the example. You can take Japanese 1 here in Guilford County Schools, and you can go to Japan, take that same course, and they'll be studying the same curriculum. So it's very rigorous, and students don't really enroll in those classes until their junior and senior year. And then college courses. In Guilford County Schools, students have the opportunity to take college courses while still attending high school. And so that comes in a variety of ways as well. So lastly, we have 2 more, credit by demonstrated mastery and our virtual learning. I'll start with the virtual because that's easier to understand. Those are all of our online courses. So we have several platforms, if you will, that students can use, but essentially they have a variety of courses that students can take online. And so sometimes students want to get ahead. They want to sit through classes while they're in school. They may pick up some online classes during the summer. So those are great opportunities that students have as well. And then the credit by demonstrated mastery is literally what the title says. Students get credit for courses for demonstrating mastery for a certain content. So essentially, we have 2 phases. They take an exam on a specific content, and then they have to prove that they have mastered it also by showing an artifact. So there's a phase 1 and then there's a phase 2, and if they pass, they can get credit for a course that they didn't actually sit through in Guilford County Schools. So the caveat to that, though, is that you cannot have ever taken the course before or the content from the course, and even one day. So for instance, we have students that get credit by demonstrated mastery maybe for a foreign language. They already know the language. There's no need for them to sit through Japanese 1 if they already know Japanese. They can take the test, they can show the artifact, and they can prove that they have mastery of that content. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And I promise I'm not only doing terminology. These are the last 2. So diploma endorsements and the career and college promise. Diploma endorsements, we've had that about maybe 6 years. It's from the state, and it really is a recognition of a student's accomplishments in a different area. So we have 5 of them, and they have specific criteria. That you have to have a certain GPA or have taken certain courses. The world language, they even have like an additional assessment that students can take. But it really is a recognition, and they get an extra seal on their diploma if they get an endorsement. And then the Career and College Promise, that is a dual enrollment program, so that's very similar to the college classes that we offer. Students can take courses at GTCC while they're enrolled with Guilford County. And Ms. Marshall will talk a little bit more about that. So just as a snapshot, The student registration process, as I mentioned, this is a great opportunity for students to choose courses that are going to help them accomplish what they need to after high school. Choose courses that align with your plan. So if you know the career of your choice, it might be helpful to choose courses in that career. If you have no idea what you want to be, that's fine too. Most students don't. But at least choose courses that will help you graduate and that really will help in any career. So you think about computer courses. They'll help you in just about any career. Find what kind of work do you want to do as an adult? Do you want to do military, 4-year, 2-year college? What courses will help you achieve your post-secondary plans? And then what are your long-term goals and what choices will help you reach those goals? So we have what we call, and it's at the very top there, the registration toolbox. That is on our website. And so you can go to www.gcsnc.com. You can search for registration toolbox, or you can find it by going to either of the counseling services web pages. And I compare it to Walmart. We put anything we can that will help with the registration process. So in Walmart, you know, you can get soap or you can get tires for your car. So we have the registration book on there. We have the forms. We have special forms for approval. Anything that we think will help students and parents. We have the graduation requirements on the website. You can go there and view them on your own. So this is just the second page of that. You'll see the graduation requirements, high school course listings, the registration forms, and guidelines for summer programs or online courses. These are the books that you will receive. This year, for the first time in a very long time, every student will receive a book. We've had them online for many years, and so most students were just going online to view them. So this year, every student will receive, if you're in middle school, the middle school book. If you're in high school or a rising 9th grader, you'll receive the green high school book. So everything that we're discussing in here, you can find in that book. Essentially, the first information on your handouts, that's in the very front of the registration book under general information. So some important tips. This is for students primarily, but for parents as well. Speak with your teachers, especially your core teachers. Core meaning your English, your science, your math, your social studies, because they make recommendations for the courses that students take next year. And it is just that, it's just a recommendation. Students can enroll or choose any course that they want to take. Teachers make recommendations on their performance, on their test scores when we get them at the end of the year. But students and parents essentially have the last word on what courses they want their student to take. Choices that students make in high school affect their options of study. We ask that students give serious consideration. You know, we don't want you to just take anything or take random courses like Health 1, Drama 1, Chorus 1, and then you have no skill set in any area because you took the intro of everything. So we want them to be serious and take those clusters. In order to earn a high school diploma, you must have all of your credits and meet all test requirements. So you can't even be a half a credit short. It's either 28 or 22, and that's pretty much it. The courses of study are designed by the state to help students be prepared for post-secondary opportunities. And as I've mentioned several times, we really encourage students to take rigorous and challenging courses. So this is a little bit about middle school. I know we don't have really many middle school parents here, but this will serve both for high school as well. Knowing how to calculate your GPA. Many students don't know how to do that, and it's really important. So you can keep up with your own performance.
How do you calculate?
So, you know, A equals 4, B equals 3, a C equals 2, a D equals 1, a F is 0. So however many courses you take, you add that up. So say you have, I don't want to do math on the camera in front of people. So you add up the what equals that grade, and then you divide it by however number of grades. So if it adds up to be 22 or 15, and you have 4 grades, then you divide that by 4, and that's your GPA. So I really, when I get my 6th graders, that's the first thing we do, because they are amazed that they cannot do homework for maybe get 4 zeros or 2 zeros, and then they're completely confused when the grade is reflected. And they're like, I don't know how that happened. Well, let's calculate it so we can see. And so it's much easier for them to figure it out. So know the promotion standards. It's important for middle school to get in the habit of good attendance, because when they get into high school, it's really important that they have good habits in place. Understand the meaning and importance of dressing out. Ms. Marshall talked about that the other night. A lot of times students don't do well in PE just because they didn't dress out. You get participation grades. Understand the very encore and elective, so you may hear encore and elective used, so it's the same thing. Be familiar with the athletic eligibility. So for middle school, now 6th graders can play sports. So they had not been able to do that in the past. Study and complete your class assignments, and then understand the terminology that we went over. So know what advanced courses are, know what credit by demonstrated mastery is, because you may be able to benefit from that. Know virtual learning opportunities, and then know that you have the option to get diploma endorsements and what that is. And it's good to know that before you actually get to your 12th grade year, so you can meet that criteria.
The one thing that I want to make sure, and we're gonna, go through the slides, so I'm gonna veer from that for a moment. When I was directly in the high school setting, and I had an opportunity to ask some of my students, what do you wish you would have known before going into 9th grade? And I was shocked actually at their answer. I figured they would talk about either more opportunities with sports or clubs or fun things or whatever that they wanted to know about. But what they said to me really kind of threw me back. They wish that they would have known that they can and they would fail. So all their life through elementary and middle school, most cases, very few students are held back. Most times they do move to the next grade level. They might have to do some summer school or some different things to try to catch up, but they do move on. And in high school, that is not the case. So when you get to high school, come at the end of 12th grade, and at the end of those 4 years, if you have not passed the classes with a 60 or better and earned all of your credits and all of the right credits, you will not walk across that stage. And that was what my kids really expressed to me, that they wish they had understood that, because those that like to play the system and like to hover around that risky area of pass or not pass, it really caught up with some of them that this is serious and you're really not going to give me that diploma. So if you don't take anything else away other than knowing to ask about your transcript and knowing that you can and will, fail and not earn that diploma, take that away. And especially the young ones in here that are going into high school soon, know that that is serious. And you can and will fail PE. Kids are a lot of times shocked at that, of how did I fail health and PE? You didn't change your clothes. It's most times that simple. You did not dress out every day like you were supposed to. So just take that serious. So Dr. Meadows talked about knowing how to calculate your GPA. You asked the question about, do elective classes have the same point system as the regular classes? They do. So the only exception to that are the honors courses are going to get a half a point extra. AP, IB, and college courses are all going to get 1 additional point. So that's where you get the difference between your weighted and your unweighted GPA. As you start earning those extra points that award you somewhat for taking the more rigorous courses. So again, knowing how to read that transcript, parents that are in here, you would be shocked to see the difference between what your transcript looked like that might have been a handwritten transcript and what your student's transcript looks like now and all the information that is listed on that transcript. I recently had to try to make sense of a transcript for someone from 1979 and I was clueless because I was trying to read all that stuff, codes that didn't make much sense to me. Understanding and knowing the meaning of course credit, and again that goes back to what I said, that you have to earn the credits for every class in order to walk across that stage. Knowing your graduation requirements, and we're going to go over those. Understanding and completing the high school four-year plan. So Dr. Meadows mentioned the importance of those. You have a sample in front of you, just a blank one, and that's something you can play with at home. Middle school students, you should be working with your counselor to start developing that high school plan now, but we know that the students can sit in the office with that counselor and they can create a wonderful plan, and they can walk out of that office, see their best friend, and that plan might change, right? So we know that those things change frequently, and our kids, they all change their mind. We change our mind all the time. Half of us probably still don't know what we want to do when we grow up. So that plan, though, helps you to start thinking through it and exploring your course options. It's better now to start thinking about what you want to do at school outside of high school and exploring what options are available to you than to wait until senior year and you haven't tried some things that could have been really beneficial to you. Knowing the attendance policy, you must attend 95%. That's what's considered satisfactory attendance. That's less than 9 days absent. And I mean, one round of the flu this year, and there goes half of your days. So you definitely don't want to waste those days because you're going to need them, because if you do get sick, it's going to take some of that. That goes back into having to earn that credit and pass so that you get that diploma. If you miss too many days, you're going to fall far behind in your classes. And especially on a block schedule, if you come to a school like Dudley or one of our other block schools, you know, one day out of that class and you have missed an hour and a half worth of material. So that's essentially like missing 2 full days in that class. And having an understanding of the career clusters and the course concentrations. We do in Guilford County. North Carolina has 16 different concentrations in different career areas. Guilford County offers 14 of those. So across the district, we have a ton of options available to our students. This is awesome. I think about the student that I had a lot of times, and I'm sorry, you can't really talk about planning for high school without planning for what you're going to do after high school. And I know that's somewhat of a scary thought, because if you're thinking about your kids leaving 6th and going to high school, that's probably already a scary transition, and I'm making you think about them leaving high school. So I know I have an 18-month-old and I freak out already about her going to kindergarten. So I get it. But you really can't think that far. And so I think of the student all the time that she was adamant to me that she wanted to be a nurse. She wanted to go into nursing, but yet here she is her senior year and she's never taken any of the courses that we offered that would give her some experience in nursing. So we finally get her some exposure into those classes, and she said to me, she said, "Ooh, you mean I have to touch somebody?" I don't know what she thought all her life when she thought she was going to be a nurse, that she would not have to touch people. Maybe she had never been sick and never experienced that. But yes, and so that was a rude awakening for this child. Suddenly, she had no desire to go into nursing whatsoever. So she had to start thinking of other options and other things she wanted to do. But these career clusters and these courses gave her the opportunity to figure that out now, as opposed to if she had waited and enrolled in the nursing related courses in college, she would have had to pay a very big penny to come to that realization. So it's much better to start figuring those things out about yourself now, as opposed to when you're having to pay for it. So again, knowing your high school options, they had the magnet fair a few weeks back, so that would have been a great time, but you can also go on the website to look at all of the different choice options that Guilford County has for students. And knowing the meaning of the different curriculum options. I'm not going to go into a lot of details because Dr. Meadow did. I do want to talk about the Career and College Promise a little more because that's an opportunity that not a lot of people know about. That is an agreement with community colleges all across the state. But in Guilford County, high school students can take courses, and you don't have to be a part of a magnet program. You can take courses at GTCC and get high school and college credit for those courses. You do have to have transportation, and you have to pay the fees. I think the fee's like $50 if you're a part-time student, and you have to pay for your books. So that's your responsibility there. But on the flip side of that, if you've made the B or higher, you're going to walk away with high school and college credit for that class. That is guaranteed to transfer because it's a part of an agreement with the 16 UNC system universities. So you can't really beat that opportunity. The beauty of this is prior to 2015, the weighted GPA points, so those extra points that you get towards your GPA, a college course only got 1 point. And it still gets only 1 point. But the AP and the IB courses got 2 points. Starting in 2015, the state realigned those different point systems. AP and IB courses now get 1 point. The college courses still get 1 point, and your honors courses get a half a point. So now the weighting for a college course and an AP and an IB course is all the same. So that is fantastic. AP and IB is a great opportunity for our students, and especially students who want to challenge themselves but maybe they don't have the transportation or it's not going to work in their schedule to go to GTCC. Great options. College credit is not guaranteed because you've got to take that test and you've got to score high enough on that test to earn that credit. So it's something that we want parents to know is that your kid can walk away in high school. I did it when I was in high school and I walked away with 12 credits towards my bachelor's degree already. So it was a great opportunity. All right, steps to complete registration. Now this is going to look slightly different. The overall process will be the same, but it's going to look slightly different at whichever school you're dealing with. So Dudley's going to have their plan and their exact dates of when they open registration windows, and Eastern might have something slightly different. So you're going to want to know from them specifically. This is the general plan. You're going to want to make sure you have looked at general information that's available to students. We're doing a lot of that tonight. Read the course descriptions. Once you get access to that book, or even going on the website sooner than then and reading some of the course descriptions that are on there. You might have never thought about taking theater before, but then you might read it and be like, oh, that sounds fun, I'm going to try that. So really just seeing what's out there and what's available to you. Reviewing the high school four-year plan. Again, playing with that blank sheet, charting some things out that you think you would like to do and what your options are. And talking with your teachers and reviewing that information. Get their opinion. Talk to them and see, do they think you should enroll in the honors class? What are their thoughts on that? See how they feel about it. You never know. You might be thinking, I probably can't do this, and that sounds hard, I'm not so sure. But that teacher might tell you something entirely different, that they see something that you are capable of doing this. So get their opinion. You're going to choose your courses that you want to take next year and that you're interested in. Just know that your schedule could very well change. A lot of that has to depend on when the test scores are released over the summer, that the schools look at that information to make sure students are properly placed. If you get placed in a course, whether you're bumped down into a regular course or maybe they want to bump you up in a higher course because you did so well on the exam, if you're not happy with that, just let the counselor know, and they can adjust it based off of what your desire is. Meet with the counselor to complete the registration process, and so that you can also view the teacher recommendations. Most of our schools will open up, they're going to pick a week. They're going to open up a computer lab so that kids can come in and out of that lab to register for their high school classes. And then they will have a time separate of that the counselors will actually meet with those kids one-on-one to talk about, okay, this is what you selected. Is this correct? Is this what you meant to click? Do you really want to do this? They're going to have those conversations and make sure that everything's there. So that's how that process will go at most places. Some might go into, and the kids will have access to fill it out at home as well. So they'd be able to log on to their computers at home or go to the public library, wherever, and get online and do that if they choose to do it. Some of our schools might choose, we're not going to do that. You know, they go into the English classroom and they help all the kids do it in class at one time. So that's going to vary slightly, but the general expectation is students are going to have a chance to select it, and then counselors will go behind and meet with them.
When do they normally?
So these are the things that you can expect, so that's a good question, from this year. Like I said, every kid should have a one-on-one meeting with their counselor at some point in time during this registration process. You should receive a letter from your school that will detail when that window is going to open up for those kids, how to log on if they don't know how to log on or where to find that information. They may have a localized to their school career night or curriculum fair or registration meeting like this. That information would be in their letter. So you should get something from them that kind of details their process. It more than likely won't come in the mail. It will more than likely come home in your kid's book bag, which I know the book bags magically eat stuff from the school all the time. So just ask them for it, ask them if they've seen it, because I know it could disappear once it goes in that book bag. So just ask, and if you didn't get it, call the school and ask. So again, the letter basically should have the registration window, any parent nights, any specific information about course offerings, access to the parent portal. That is something to know, to look for in high school. Many of you might have it in the middle school as well. You might have already set that up. But if you haven't, the parent portal is a beautiful thing where you can log on, you can see your child's grades. You'll be able to tell if the teacher's entered grades in or if they haven't entered grades in. So if you see lots of missing assignments, you're like, hey, how's my kid doing? Because I can't see it. So you get access to that information, which arms you with some powerful stuff to be able to stay on top with your students and how they're doing in school. Oh, lastly, other documents that you should expect to see is at the end of registration, you should get a copy of their course selections and a copy of their 4-year plan from their school counselor. So knowing that those plans could change, but you should at least be able to see evidence of that. This is a sample. It's a lot of the blank spaces there would be where you'd start filling in electives. But this kind of tracks it. Okay, 9th grade, you're going to do English 1, either regular or honors. 10th grade, English 2, regular or honors. 11th grade now actually, that you could take English 3, 11, regular or honors, or you could bump up to AP or IB. Senior year, same thing, English 4, or change that to AP or IB. So this starts kind of tracking. This is kind of your standard course of study, what I have charted here. But it helps you to start thinking through that. The graduation requirements, I think you do. You have a copy of that, the chart. So we will look through that. Future Ready Core, as Dr. Meadows pointed out, that is our core graduation requirements in the state of North Carolina. You have to have 4 English credits, 4 math credits, which have to be Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, and then the 4th math is aligned with what you plan to do after high school. So if you're planning to go to a 4-year university, then it has to be an advanced level math. If you're planning that you know that you're going to either go to the military or go into a community college and that's what you're going to start with, then you have a few more options of what that 4th math could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of those advanced higher level maths. So you have some options there once you get to your senior year. Science, you have to have 3 science credits, earth science, biology, and then a physical science. So that physical science could be physics, chemistry, or general physical science. History, social studies, you have to have 4 credits. World history, American history, which is civics and economics, and then American History 1 and American History 2. If you take AP History or IB History, then those history requirements would look slightly different. You would do World History, the Civics and Economics class, AP US History or IB History, and then a 4th history, which could be, Human Geography or World Geography or Psychology or Sociology. You'd have some options there if you're on that advanced track. So that varies. World language is not a graduation requirement. It is a requirement for 4-year universities. So that is, again, kind of goes back to that 4-year plan and what you think you want to do when you graduate. If there's that option that you think you want to go to a 4-year university, then we have to get those 2 years of foreign language, and that's 2 years of the same language. So we need Spanish 1 and 2, or Latin 1 and 2, not Spanish 1 and Latin 1. That's not going to get us anywhere. Health and PE is a graduation requirement. Can you fail health and PE? Yes. Will it stop you from graduating? Yes, it will. All right, CPR is required for graduation. That shocks a lot of people. Most of our students will actually earn their CPR certification and requirement in 8th grade. So talk to your kid about that. If they didn't get it or they didn't pass, ask them about that because they have to have it for graduation. So if they did not get it for whatever reason, the high school will be running lists and they'll have to come in. Some schools might do it after school for so many days. Some might have Saturday workshops, whatever it is, to make sure they get that credit. It will be on their transcript. It will be listed there, yes. Electives, you have to have, in order to meet the state requirements, at least 6 electives. If you attend a block schedule school, you're going to have a whole lot more than 6. But 2 of those electives have to be specific to either career and technical courses, CTE, arts, or world language. And it can be any combination of those. So you could take a world language course and an art class, and you're good. So otherwise, there's some recommended stuff there about having a concentration. And you have to have all the electives, but 2 have to specifically be CTE, arts, or world language, any combination. All right, so total number of graduation requirements, 22 credits is a state requirement. A block schedule school has to have 28 credits. So just know that there's a slight difference there depending on the type of school that you're attending. If you're attending a traditional schedule school, which means they start class in August, they end class in June, you're on the 22 requirements. A block schedule means you start class in August, you finish in January, and you start 4 more brand new classes.